Welcome to the Real Estate Deep Dive with Paul D. Garrison from JP and Associate Realtors. On today's deep dive, we're going to talk about the recent foreclosure activity that's made some headlines. I'm sure many of y'all have seen some of the sensational headlines about the recent rise in foreclosure activity in the first quarter of 2023. Well, like a lot of headlines recently about the housing market, they are a bit misleading while still being factually true. So, like in all things, perspective is very important. So, over the last 3 years, there have actually been 1 million fewer foreclosures. So, if we're looking at normal years, look at, let's say, 2017, 18, and 19 before the pandemic, the average was around 598,000 foreclosures a year. If we look at 2020, 21, and 22, there was actually a shortfall each of those years for a total of over 1 million fewer foreclosures. Now, a big part of this was due to the moratorium that was in place during the pandemic, which has since lifted. So yes, while it's true filings are increasing from the lows that we saw in 2020, they're still well below what we saw during normal years, which were still well below what we saw during the last housing crisis. This graph kind of helps put that in perspective. So where we are today is the point at the far right, which is the Q1 of 2023, just below this very bottom line of the chart. You can see pre-pandemic is pretty much everything above that line. So we're still well below where we were before the pandemic. Okay, let's take a look at the facts real fast of what's going on with foreclosures. A total of 95,712 U.S. properties had foreclosure filings on them during the first quarter of 2023. And a total of 65,346 U.S. properties started the foreclosure process in Q1 of 2023. Now, nationwide, 1 in every 1,459 housing units had a foreclosure filing in Q1 of 2023, and lenders repossessed a total of 12,518 U.S. properties through foreclosure in Q1 of 2023. Now, that's across the entire U.S. So again, perspective is important, and I found that sometimes seeing it graphically helps keep that perspective. This graph shows us U.S. properties with foreclosure filings over time per year. And we can actually compare where we are in 2022, compare that over the last several years all the way back to 2005. And you can actually see the peak was in 2010 with over 2.9 million foreclosure filings. So what does all this mean? Well, yes, we've seen an increase in activity over the lows that we saw in 2021, but no, we are nowhere close to what we saw during the last housing crisis. Don't panic by just reading the headlines. Dig into the articles, dig into the data, talk to a professional, find out what's really going on in the housing market. Many of the metrics and numbers in this presentation are based off of the national real estate market. However, local areas can vary. Please give me a call and we can discuss your situation. Have questions about your specific needs or location? Please contact me at 214-683-8188 or paul@pauldgarrison.com. Want more information about the housing market and related issues? Be sure and check out my blog at www.pauldgarrison.com. Thank you for your time. Please take a moment to visit our website at www.pauldgarrison.com.